Hello, it is Topical Tuesday, October 1st, 2019. We're into the final quarter of the year, and hopefully for you that means that you are more than 3/4 of the way towards your goals for the year, and if not, plenty of time to make a big finishing rush. Speaking of which, if I forget to mention, as sometimes I do, if you want help with anything I'm talking about here or anything related to the advertising, marketing, sales, the money-getting part of your business, I will give you that help personally when you go to helpfromsteve.com. So this is a huge, really tremendous, important point for business owners on Topical Tuesday today. And maybe it's several days late after being topical, but it's something that is still in the news all the time. It's this climate change hysteria going around. It's been going around for quite some years, and now that the far left radical socialist climate change hucksters are kind of out of power, at least out of the White House in the United States, and they got the elephant bull in the china shop, Donald Trump, who got out of the climate change agreement internationally and blah blah blah. And he's onto the whole game being played, so he's not kowtowing to all the hucksterism going on out there, or whatever you want to call it. They are up in arms. And so my beautiful wife and I were kind of out of pocket last week. We decided to drive to Aspen, Colorado, where we were hosting the All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind. That was a 2-day drive. We took a leisurely, scenic route, both ways going up and back, so 4 days of driving. And one of the nights, the last night, we stayed in actually somewhere, I think in Utah, completely out of the way cabin, had spotty at best satellite internet and no TV in the room, and so really we're just completely out of it and listening to satellite radio the whole way. And so I get back and I tuned in the news for some bizarre reason. I guess I wanted a dose of craziness, and I saw just wall-to-wall plastered this little teenage girl, or looks like a teenage girl from some foreign country, whining and crying and hysterical over climate change, and oh, we're all guilty and we owe her something, and the world is terrible to her, and we need to do what she says, and if we don't believe in what she believes, and I don't even think she believes in it, she seems intelligent, then somehow we're evil, and really compelling stuff, and people. Then I tuned into social media. People are eating this stuff up. They're really believing it. And that goes for almost all the major climate change hoaxsters that are out there, regardless of whether you think this thing is real or not. I mean, I think the Earth, in fact, on this drive we saw and witnessed and read about and experienced all kinds of ways the Earth is constantly changing in the climate. And where we were driving through was the bottom of the ocean. Years ago, dinosaur bones all over the place, and signs talking about how the Gulf of Mexico was going all the way to the Rocky Mountains, and so forth. And so, of course, this save the planet thing is nonsense. The planet's going to be fine, whether or not this little girl and all the other hoaxsters out there about climate change are alive. It's really save me. Of course, it's not save the planet. Planet's fine. Planet was here long before humans, will be long after humans. And people are wealthier and healthier and living longer and in better situation than they've ever been before. So, of course, everything is fine and better than ever. Second of all, even if you believe, which the big proponents of this socialist climate change, Green New Deal and that kind of stuff, obviously they don't believe it from their actions, right? You see Al Gore and DiCaprio and all these types, they're flying around in their private jets, so clearly they don't believe it's a big problem or a urgent problem. Obama just dropped $15 million on a home right on the coast, which I supposedly he tells people is vanishing any day now, and so forth and so on. But whether or not you believe that this thing is for real or urgent or whatever, of course, as with everything else, it's not up to the government to solve the problem. Government doesn't solve just about any problem. I mean, government is needed to kind of overall see big things that other people can't, like defend the entire country and or wage wars, that kind of thing. But of course, government should not be involved in any kind of technology or anything that's going to solve big problems. That's, of course, for innovators, entrepreneurs, inventors. And hopefully they're working away. I know they are, because I know some of them. They're working away on their futuristic energy things and farming. I was just talking to someone today about vertical farming that they're doing and getting big funding for. And, the future's fine, everything's going to be taken care of, but that's not a great message for socialist, control freaks that want to control every aspect of your life and have tons of power. They want to tell you the world is ending if you don't give more money to the government and have less freedom and do what they say. So this message is a crazy, ridiculous message that is against the interest of basically every human being on Earth, short-term, long-term, everything in between. Again, if these changes, and they are being made, they're not being made by the government. It's not a matter of giving more of your tax dollars and more power to the few of the governing class throughout the world. It's about innovation, as with anything, which means inventors and entrepreneurs are at work solving the problems. And yet, that's no good for these politicians, the climate change hoaxsters. They bring out all the weapons, and they're really good. And so I knew I wanted to get this message across out there, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, how important it is to be passionate and to be effective in telling your message. Look at this. I mean, this little girl who clearly is not a scientist, right? That's the thing. You do not see, here's the bottom line, you do not see a scientist in the lead of talking about climate science. Tell me who's the scientist in the forefront of this. They always talk about all the high percentage of climate scientists, whatever that means, climatologists, climate science. Where are they? Where's the climate scientist out on TV or at the UN or wherever in public? No, of course not. Al Gore, last I checked, not a scientist. Leonardo DiCaprio, not a scientist. Barack Obama, not a scientist. Bernie Sanders, not a scientist. The little girl, I don't even know if she's taken a science class yet. She seems like a teenager in high school. And on and on and on. Bill Nye, the science guy. We ought to talk about that another day. Very smart marketer because, of course, not a scientist. Knows very little about science, but he knows a lot about how to act like he knows about science. And that's what we're talking about here, is that if you, for whatever reason, choose not to be the spokesperson for your business, which a lot of entrepreneurs make that choice. They say, I don't like how I look on camera. By the way, if you need some inspiration, look at me. Do I look good on camera? So clearly that doesn't matter. I don't like how I sound. Do I sound fantastic? Clearly that doesn't matter. I wouldn't know what to say. Well, go to helpfromsteve.com. I'll help you out with that one, or pay attention to my videos or get help from somebody, because if you can't talk about your business and the problems you can solve for people for, 10 hours or so, then you're in the wrong business, because of course you can. And yet, many business owners, many people choose not to. I don't want to be my own spokesperson. It's common and it's fine. But that doesn't mean you don't have a spokesperson. That means get a spokesperson. Now this can be a real person, like this little girl who's really convincing. Or this AOC, there's another one. Clearly not a scientist, but she is also being used as a puppet, a tool, by the far left, whoever's in charge and whoever's telling her what to say and what to do and all that. She is a great spokesperson for that movement. The pro-socialist, bigger government, less personal freedom movement. She's a great spokesperson for that. Looks good, speaks well, is unafraid to be criticized, and so, very Trumpian. Unafraid to be criticized, so goes out and says all kinds of outrageous, crazy things and gets tons of attention. So if you don't want to be your own spokesperson, get a spokesperson. It can be a celebrity, like the Al Gores of the world and the Bill Nye, the science guys of the world. Leonardo DiCaprio, celebrities that don't have to, like in their case, know anything about the subject. They just read the script. Can be athletes, former athletes. They're less expensive than you could imagine. to get them to be spokespeople for you or your business, or both. Also, could be not real, fictional characters, cartoons. Charlie the Tuna, Smokey the Bear. We saw a lot of Smokey the Bear. We saw a wildfire on the side of the road, actually, while we were driving through, I think, once we got into Colorado. Oh, no, that was in Arizona, near the Grand Canyon. And Smokey the Bear signs were all over the place. There you go, Smokey the Bear, spokesperson for the National Forest Service or whatever. I mean, the Secretary of the Interior, I'm pretty sure he or she is not out there being the spokesperson. They got someone to draw a cartoon and be Smokey the Bear, because they did not make the choice that so many business owners make. I'm just not going to have a spokesperson for my business. No, no, no. Big mistake. Look how powerful it is when you have a powerful spokesperson getting that message out there. This little girl, I mean, that's such great manipulation. To send this girl out there who clearly knows nothing about anything and is just parroting whatever, probably reading a script, that's another thing. You want to get somebody really good at writing persuasive copy, it's known as, writing the words that persuade, that engage, that manipulate, that sell, that influence, whatever you want to call it. Get somebody really good to write that script if you need to, and get somebody else really good to perform it. The climate hoaxers understand it's a big, big business. They bring in millions of dollars and they live like kings and they fly around in their private jets, undoubtedly laughing at everyone else, while they look down and say, yeah, we're telling all them they have to sacrifice. We ain't sacrificing nothing. In fact, we're getting richer and richer and richer all the time. And so, I keep getting off track when I think about them, because they're brilliant, okay? So if you don't want to be your own spokesperson, don't make the mistake of not having a spokesperson. Have a fantastic spokesperson, have them have a fantastic script, and promote your message, your business, why people need to do business with you, why they should believe what you believe. Let's say you're a heating and air person. Well, you can wait for the low-hanging fruit. You can wait until 10 or 12 years or 15 years till somebody's system completely breaks down at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. But aren't those the worst customers? I mean, they're easy because they're in a panic and they call you, but they call you at 3 in the morning. So now, oh, honey, I got to take this call. Oh, I got to go out in the freezing cold at 3 in the morning. Why don't you do like my clients do and set up marketing systems so that even in the, quote, off times of the year, there are no off times. We'll put all kinds of programs into place to bring in all kinds of steady business that you can work during the day when you want, with the people you want to, and you schedule it way in advance, and you take care of replacing their heating and air system way before it's going to totally break down and be an expensive and an emergency, inconvenient emergency, right? So, but that takes persuasion. Otherwise, people just wait till things break. You know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, of course that's not true, especially if you're in business. You're constantly, hopefully, improving your business. You're watching this video, so hopefully you're improving aspects of your video and of your business, and hopefully you're watching more of my videos. I record a new one every day. Maybe you're listening to the audio or you're reading this somewhere, but whatever it is, you're looking to improve. You're not waiting until you're broke or you're bankrupt to improve your business. Well, why would you let people wait until their shoes have holes in them to encourage them and convince them to buy more shoes, or to replace their heating and air system before it completely breaks down, or to cut their lawn before it's overgrown and looks like a forest, or to paint their home before the paint is chipping and peeling off? And I could go on and on and on. But that takes some persuasion and some convincing, and you can learn some fantastic lessons. I mean, because look at these people. They are convincing millions of people all the time. I mean, how many times should the earth have ended by now? And should, cities be underwater and whatever, if anything they said was anywhere near true. And yet people believe it. I know that because I know some otherwise intelligent people that have bought this hook, line, and sinker and just not looking at it at all intelligently. In fact, I know some people that get some of these government grants. Now, they've been tamped down the last few years because Trump was onto the game, and they're kind of bummed because the money was so easily flowing. All they had to do was in their grant request, I forget what it's called, a grant, writing the grant, they just have to parrot the old, ooh ah, we're studying this because otherwise blah blah blah, and the government gives them money. Well, Trump cut a lot of that off, and they're pissed. But they knew how to butter up the golden goose and get our tax dollars flowing into their pockets, right? They got a really good grant writer, and they wrote that whole thing up and said exactly what the people in government wanted to hear, and they got the money. Well, what about you and your business? Are you saying what people need to hear so they make the right decision to replace their heating and air system or their shoes or fix their car, maintain it before it totally breaks down and just gets destroyed? Or are you waiting till people's cars just completely break down? That's a crappy way to run a car repair business. Okay, makes sense? Hopefully I got through to you. If you don't want to be your own spokesperson, check out the climate change Hucksters, which have some fantastic spokespeople, none of whom are climate scientists, whatever that means. So don't let that stop you. If you yourself don't want to be the spokesman for your business, get someone to be the spokesman, spokeswoman, spokesperson, and get someone to write the script for them to say, those people know what a big business it is. What about your business? Is it important to you? It ought to be. If you're a business owner, it ought to really matter to you, your family, your employees, your customers, your clients, patients, members, your community, everyone around you. It really ought to matter enough for you to make this important step. And if you're not going to do it, often even if you want to do it, you're better off getting someone compelling and persuasive and putting the right words in their mouth, just like this ridiculously fraudulent little girl with her compelling speech. I mean, you got to admit, even though it was total BS, really compelling stuff. How much more compelling is your stuff going to be when it's not BS? Oh my goodness. It's going to be really compelling when you tell the truth in a passionate way. All these people are lying in a passionate way. I mean, you would think there couldn't ever be a more damaging piece of legislation in the American history than the New Deal. And yet these socialists are now modern day. They're so brazen about it that they even name their thing the New Green Deal or the Green New Deal or the Green Deal, New Deal, whatever they call it. But they even use the phrase New Deal because people don't realize or have forgotten or just haven't studied or haven't looked at it at all to realize how damaging the New Deal was to America. Now they're all, we want to pass the Green New Deal. Like, oh my goodness, got nothing to do with green other than money, folks. How persuasive are you being? Are you anywhere near as persuasive? Because undoubtedly your message is more truthful than anything these climate hucksters are saying, and yet lots of people believe them. That's it for Topical Tuesday. Sid is here, good seeing you, and a bunch of other people I saw go by. But I don't see any questions, comments, concerns, so we'll leave those for anyone watching on the replay. If so, and I will post a comment in response when appropriate, and I'll be back tomorrow with another business building lesson for you on World Wide Web Wednesday that will pertain specifically to making money with the internet. And if you want help with making more money in your business more easily and more fun than ever before, go to helpfromsteve.com and I'll help you out. Catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.